Alright, historians, let's talk about Module 11, Modern Europe Part 2 and Part 3. This is Modern Europe 2, 11.01, and we are discussing Cubism and abstraction. We've got 8 core works and 2 supplemental works to discuss for this unit. And Cubism itself in date range is ranging from 1907 to the 20s, while abstraction is the 1910s and onwards. Cubism is very much centered in France, while abstraction is really originating from like a little Northern Europe and some Russia. So for our artworks for this, these 2 units, for Cubism, we've got Picasso's La Demoiselle d'Avignon and Still Life with a Chair Canning. Braque's the Portuguese, we have Delaunay and Legger's The Cubist City, and then for abstraction, we're taking a look at Klint's Painting the Unseen, Kandinsky's Apocalypse, Malevich's Suprematist Composition, and Mondrian's composition with red, yellow, and blue. And our supplemental works include Kandinsky's Improvisation number 28, as well as Braque's Le Viaduc à l'Estac. So, Dolly would like to say hello. Goodbye. Sorry, we're back to the cat craziness today. So let's talk a little bit about these 2 eras of art. So we are really in the midst of what I've been calling the isms, and we're looking at Cubism for right now. So 1907 to the 1920s, Cubism was really mostly developed by Pablo Picasso and George Braque in Paris around 1907. They're the pioneers of this art movement, and it was very strongly inspired by African and Iberian art, as well as Post-Impressionism, especially Cézanne's work, focusing on the form and structure of objects. So Cubism emphasizes fragmentation of objects into geometric forms and focuses on the depicting of multiple perspectives, while simultaneously while downplaying the realistic representation. So it's kind of like trying to show every view of an object, whether it be the inside, outside, top, bottom, left, right, front, back, etc., just trying to get all of it included. And they're really prioritizing conceptual visual representation, but it is said that it's with the intention of providing more clarity. In my personal opinion, I find it actually is less clear when you're looking at the object as a viewer versus creating it as an artist. So there were 2 phases within the Cubist style. First, we have analytical Cubism, which is really proclaiming muted colors, detailed analysis of form, and focus on the deconstruction of objects. And then we also have synthetic Cubism, which is really using a lot more brighter colors, as well as the inclusion of mixed media like collages, and really like simpler and even more symbolic shapes. So Cubism is really marking a break from the kind of traditional perspective and representations, as well as influencing a lot of architecture, design, and other arts, which includes the Futurist and Dada movements to come. And so this is now leading us into what we see as abstraction. So abstraction is really the 1910s and onward, and it is emerging as a response to like the increasing modernity, seeking to move beyond just literal representation and trying to abstract images. And so it's pioneered by artists like Wassily Kandinsky, who's seeing abstraction as a way to express spiritual and emotional truths within his work. Abstraction is really focusing on the elimination of recognizable subject matter and focusing on shapes and colors and lines as the primary elements of the composition. There is an emphasis on non-representational art meant to evoke thought or feeling. And within abstraction, we're also seeing some movements like expressionism, which is very emotion-driven abstraction. We're seeing constructivism, which is the geometric and really industrial forms being utilized. And we also have the de Stijl movement, which is pure abstraction and universality through simplicity. And that was really pioneered by Mondrian, who you're going to learn about. So abstracted art styles were really influenced by philosophical ideas like theosophy, which is really exploring like spiritual realms, and it's reflecting the very rapidly industrializing and technological changes happening in the early 20th century. It's a reaction to that. And so abstract artists are often aligning with broader avant-garde movements that are very much challenging social norms, or at least questioning what is going on in our society. So both Cubism and abstraction really rejected very traditional artistic standards, which is why they're grouped together in this unit, and they're very heavily influencing modern art. So they're both spread totally worldwide. They shape architecture, design, and education, and they even both inspire music, literature, philosophy, and both really just reflect these broader cultural and intellectual shifts in art. So, talking about some of the specific pieces from this unit, Picasso is not necessarily one of my favorite artists. He was born and raised in the Andalusia, Spain, where machismo was literally invented, so that had to have a drastic effect on his approach to life. And he was really just introduced to a lot of very mature things at a very young age. His attitude towards women is not great, and he's a little problematic. But he is unfortunately like the father of modern art. Everybody knows Picasso, so you're gonna learn a little bit more about him too. When you take a look at Braque's The Portuguese, it's really interesting to me and fully embraces what Cubism is, of showing something from every single point of view. And to me, I look at this thing and I'm like, what? So I wonder if you have the same reaction. I absolutely love Hilma af Klint's work. It's so interesting and intriguing. Kandinsky is really inspired by a lot of synesthesia in his work, or when your senses get mixed up in the brain. So you might like taste sound, or like Kandinsky, he hears color, which is really, really interesting. And then, of course, Mondrian's one of the classics. I know that it's kind of one of those artists where you look at it and you go, well, I could have done that. First of all, you didn't. Second of all, what it really is looking at is like the basic core elements of artwork, in the same way that you would think of the periodic table for science, the multiplication tables for math, grammar and spelling for English. So what Mondrian is really doing is he's allowing us to boil down art into its core essential elements, where we have the primary colors, black, white, and then horizontal and straight lines creating those rectangles within the piece itself. So definitely check out the Carpino Corner. I've got a lot to share for both modules 11 and 12, and I'll see you back here for the second half of module 11. So until then, bye everybody.